Welcome, everyone. For you of those that don't know me, my name's Jeff, aka Mad Hatter Organics, and this is the Growers Exchange podcast. I wanted to start this podcast to get more information out there about different growers, breeders, and industry companies. So stick with us as we exchange all types of grower knowledge. First off, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Autopot USA, for the best plant-driven automated watering system out there. Use discount code MADHATTER10 on autopot-usa.com for 10% off your entire order. Now, let's get started with the conversation. Welcome, everybody, to the 15th episode of the Growers Exchange podcast. Today, we have a very special guest joining us, gardening enthusiast and expert, Mr. Growit. He has been gardening for over a decade and has shared his passion with thousands of people through his social media channels, including YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Apple, Spotify. Wherever you can find him, he's there. He is known for his helpful tips, engaging content, and ability to simplify complex gardening concepts for beginners. In this episode, we'll dive into Mr. Growit's journeys as a gardener, the challenges he's faced, and the lessons he has learned along the way. We'll also discuss his favorite plants, gardening techniques, and advice for those just starting out. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or just starting out, this episode with Mr. Growit is sure to provide you with plenty of inspiration, tips, and ideas to take your gardening to the next level. So sit back, relax, and let's get growing. Hello, Mr. Growit.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. I can't deny, I also got ChatGPT to write me an intro for you. It works pretty good. Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, man. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, dude. I mean, it was, I had to look it up. You were on my podcast. It was October 9, 2021. So well over a year,
Yeah.
a year and a half roughly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've looked at that episode recently, but it has over 61,000 views.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
man, you killed it. You did a great job on that episode.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a while for sure. That was kind of my whole starting, I guess, of this whole social media, Instagram, YouTube, podcast world. So it's been a while. But yeah. I've got multiple questions for you. I asked my some of my Discord members to get a couple questions together as well. So I've got a whole host of questions for you.
Sweet.
So let's get started. Tell us where this whole journey started for you and why you got into doing such a massively loved podcast.
Well, I mean, gotta say it started back when I was 12 years old, consuming that plant that we all know and love. My sister pulled me into the backyard with her friend and had a J rolled up, and it was this brick, this brick, Mexican brick, and tons of seeds, stems. You know what I mean? I got it thinking back. There had to have been more seeds and stems weight than actual flower. And it was just terrible. Like, it was just, that smoke was just horrible. Anyways, the first time I didn't actually get lit. I wasn't baked at all off the first time. It took me like 4 or 5 times. But fast forward, 3-4 years after that, I was like, hey, I want to grow it. So I mean, I was still a teenager at the time, 14, 15, 16 years old, when I first started researching it and trying to find out how to grow it. I never actually attempted it until I was about like 16, and it was a huge failure. I won't go into that one just yet, maybe later on. But yeah, for many, many years, I'd just been consuming, bouncing around between jobs. And then I didn't get serious into growing myself until 2010. So about 13 years ago now. And then, yeah, started growing, fell in love with it pretty quickly. And then got onto YouTube in 2015, and then just making videos all the time on 2 different channels now. Actually, 3 different channels if you count the Garden Talks Clips channel that I have. And yeah, here we are today. So
Awesome. Yeah, it's I can honestly say that you have been an inspiration to my whole podcast. I kind of base my style off of you. Um, try to keep it clean. There might be a little slip up here and there, but you've got such a successful platform. It's hard not to copy.
That's cool to hear, man. Yeah, it's YouTube's tough to navigate, right? They're so quick to suppress,
Hmm.
and it sucks putting so much work into something for YouTube to just shut it down and
Yeah,
not get any, the views that it deserves. So, yeah, I mean, tiptoeing around the guidelines and stuff like that in order to make it work, has been beneficial.
yeah, yeah. I have my main channel, the Mad Hatter Organics. It got monetized December 23rd. Got demonetized January 23rd. Uh, Appealed it. They denied it. I took down all my, plant showing videos. Uh, Asked to get monetized again. Also denied. So I guess that's it for that. I'm not gonna even bother. But I have a second channel dedicated for just this podcast. So it's the Growits Exchange podcast channel, which hopefully I can keep clean and, kind of do what you're doing. So
Nice, man. Yeah, it's tough. Best of luck to you.
yeah, thanks. Well, speaking about your channel, you've had such a wide range of amazing guests on. Which guest has been the most influential to you in your gardening goals?
I mean, I got to give it to Dr. Bruce Bugbee.
Yeah.
I had him on a little over a year ago now, and he's well known within the community here. He's backed by science, right? So he's based out of Utah State University, and they do studies on it. And he's got so much, like 40 plus years experience doing this. And I actually went and took his course as well. He has a certificate program. I took that last year, and I'm taking it again this year because he added more content to it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I have my cultivation certificate from Utah State University, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, by far it'd have to be him. I mean, he's the one who is pushing away all that bro science, especially
Yeah.
when it comes to lighting. They
Yeah.
have so many studies that they've done over the years that just puts a lot of the stuff that you hear about on forums and on YouTube and Reddit, Facebook, just regarded as a myth. Something
Yeah.
that maybe somebody tried once in their garden and seemed to work, and so they passed it off as fact, but it really wasn't. It was just
Yeah.
somebody saying it. It wasn't repeatable. And Dr. Bruce Bugbee came to the rescue there, and he's been dispelling a lot of myths out there. So got to give it to him as one of the top guests.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. He's a wealth of knowledge. I know there has been a few little topics with him that people do push back on every once in a while, but like you said, his tips and tricks for lighting is massive. I have no clue about lighting. I try to get into it, and it just kind of goes in one ear and out the other. It's a little difficult of a topic for me to consume, I guess. But I'm sure there's lots of people out there that would love to hear a lighting expert on here as well. But
Yeah, you should get somebody on there. I mean, there's so many different avenues when it comes to gardening, right? Lighting's just one
mhm,
avenue.
yeah,
You can get into soil science. You could get into, you get deep into nutrients. You get deep into the morphology of the plant. It's endless amounts that you can go down. So just gotta take a little bit at a time. I spent a year really getting deep into lighting, and then I kind of moved on to other things.
yeah. Yeah, wicked. So yeah, with Dr. Bruce Bugbee, it was my next question, I guess, is just to dive into the whole course you took at Utah State University. What did you think? What did you think of the course, and what was something that really changed the way you garden today? And would you recommend that course to everyone? I know I was pretty damn interested in it. I still am. I just gotta find the time, I guess.
Yeah, it's a great course. It can be expensive. I know it was $1,000 last year, but he raised the price up to about $1,500, I believe. I think there was 55 presentations last year. This year, I forget. I don't know what the exact number he increased it to, but maybe like 65 around there, something like that. So they did add quite a bit of content. Um, I think it's worth it to somebody who is really looking to advance their knowledge. You don't even need to be somebody who's looking to make a career out of it. If you're just a home gardener, you'll definitely get value out of this as well. I'm
Mhm.
just a home gardener. I just grow 6 to 12 plants max. That's all I do. That's all I'm allowed to do legally here in the state that I live in. So even me having a small plant count, I still gained a ton of value from it. One of the things that stands out that I don't really have memorized, but I refer to is on the drying and curing side of things. One of the things that kind of mentioned, he has like this chart which shows, the moisture content and like what grows, what type of mold and yeasts grow at different moisture content. So I thought that was like super interesting and something that I definitely would like to go back and probably memorize and spread that knowledge a little bit more to other people, which he encourages to take that information and spread it out to the community.
Yeah,
Even though he has that information behind a paywall right now, certainly, he encourages taking that information and spreading it out to people so people are aware about this stuff. But yeah, that is one thing that stands out. It's just knowledge that there's a lot of knowledge that. Oh, here's my cat trying to get up on my lap. That course has a lot of knowledge that like isn't available on YouTube, right? You're not going to find it on the internet anywhere, right? These are studies that he's done. Everything that he talks about in this course is backed by science. You know, there might be some things where he's like, oh yeah, and our theory is this,
yeah,
but this is the reasoning why, because this study says this study says it. You know what I mean? So it's all backed like that, which is really interesting to me, at least.
yeah.
But yeah, I do recommend that course. I mean, I'm going through it 2 years in a row, so yeah, I recommend it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I know there was a facility that was getting built here where I live. I applied to be a grower there. I was gonna go into that course to further my, hopefully further my career at that facility, but they ended up shutting their doors, closing everything down. They're in the process of selling everything, so it's a a no go anymore. So, but I'm sure I can, if I take the course, I can apply it to even this podcast. Really, try to bring some sort of knowledge. But yeah, um, so you've been growing for some time now. Do you find yourself at a little bit of a lull, maybe, in your knowledge, or is there anything that you do to find new knowledge to better yourself in the garden?
Dude, it's never ending, man. It's never ending. I remember when I first started, I was like, yeah, let me get like 5 years under my belt and I'll know everything. I'm good to go. No way. Here I
Yeah,
am 13 years still learning. And like scientists are still learning. We don't know everything there is about this plant, right? So it's like, even if you've been growing for 40 years, new information's coming out.
yeah,
So like you can learn that new information. So I don't see like a lull happening. I've been switched up so many different gardening methods over the years. I started out with bottled nutrients, and then in soil, went to cocoa, went to organics. So I've been doing a whole bunch of different things. Auto watering system. So it's like there's so many different things that you can do in the garden. So it makes things interesting, at least for me, trying out all these different things. And I know some people out there are like, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So some people will have that same style on and on and on and grow healthy plants. That's all they want to do. That's their personal goal. That's completely fine. I of course do want to grow healthy plants and get to harvest, but trying out different things is it's fun for me, to just try out the different methods. And I think that's one thing. Me being a content creator, my audience wants to see that too. You know what I mean? If I were to do the same thing over and over and over again, people would get bored of it. There are some content creators out there. I know there's a really big one out there right now that I can think of. People are starting to get bored of his content because he does the same thing over and over again.
yeah,
So it's like I don't want to do that. I want to bring like new stuff, new content to the audience. So yeah, I've been trying things out. I don't think I'll ever find a lull or get bored of it.
yeah, yeah. Same here. There's always something new to try, whether it be bro science or not. You know, but yeah. I noticed that you didn't mention one type of growing in there is hydroponics. Um, are you against it? What's your reason for not wanting to do it or haven't done it?
I would like to do it in the future. My main concern is the water temperature. Fortunately, I live in a desert region. It's summertime here, it's coming up to summer. It's 110 degrees out every day, pretty much. And then inside, having the cooling, it can get very expensive. I mean, I could buy a water chiller. It's just an additional expense, right? Water
Yeah,
chiller. Then you got to pay for electricity consumption to kind of keep those the water temperature down. There are hacks certainly with the frozen water bottles put in the reservoir to help lower the temps and stuff like that. But it's just a little bit more of a hassle. That's the only reason why I haven't really done any type of hydroponics or DWC. I mean, I've done cocoa, as a technically that's considered hydro, right? But
yeah,
as far as like deep water culture, aquaponics, any of that stuff, I haven't done yet.
yeah,
But wintertime, I could probably get away with it, you know, like November, December, January. Those are good months.
yeah,
So I think 1 year I probably will try it. But yeah, as of right now, that's the main thing steering me away is just having to control that water reservoir temperature.
hmm,
I don't have it memorized. I think it's between 70 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit, if I remember correctly, because you have to have the amount of oxygen in there as well, right?
yeah,
And the temperature impacts that. So yeah, it's really tough for me. I feel like so that's the only reason why I haven't really gone towards it.
yeah. Yeah, there's a whole host of reasoning behind. Uh, yeah, I love hydroponics. I will do it one day. Not right now, uh, but yeah, I mean, just being there every single day to check pH, check water temps, check your ppm levels, making sure your reservoir's topped up. Like, there's a whole host of um, kind of pros and cons between them too, I guess. I did back in the day in the whole legacy market side of things. I did grow with current culture. It's the whole undercurrent system. Super fascinating. I love the whole science behind growing in water and the dissolved oxygen levels. Like, yeah, it fascinates the hell out of me. Uh, I got autopots and I love them. So, um, but I guess with that being said, you've grown in autopots yourself. Do you still grow in autopots?
No, I've shifted away from them. I like them. I had great results with them, so I have nothing against them whatsoever. I've just shifted into larger pot sizes, growing
Mm-hmm.
organics. I'm in 10-gallon containers now. I was doing 7-gallon containers for several years, moved up to 10-gallon containers, and I don't think they have an auto pot with that size. So yes, they do. Is that what
Yes,
you're
they
nodding
do.
your head? They
They
do. They have large ones now, huh?
just came out with a 13-gallon fabric pot setup.
Oh, okay.
So I
All
think it's
right, I
called
might have
the
to go back to it.
XXL.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some really good results with it in the XL, I believe it was, and
Yeah,
I think they're
this
just I wanna say they're like 4-gallon containers or
the
roughly the
yeah,
equivalent.
just the regular single pot ones are 3.9 gallons and the XLs are
Yep.
6.6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, got it.
Yeah,
So
that's the
was you gonna
6.6 is what I use and have in organics as well. That's I've had nothing but success with them. So,
That's awesome. Yeah, I love being able to have, like, your initial mix of organic in there. I was doing Synganic.
hmm,
Well, I started off with organic with the intent on going the whole run organic. But I feel like, and we've talked about this before,
yeah,
actually, you and I, where we're top dressing those organic amendments, keeping that top layer moist was a little bit difficult for me since I live in such a dry climate. I think back then I wasn't using a mulch layer. I think I was adding a mulch layer to try to keep that top layer moist, but still just struggling with that breakdown because it's wicks up from the bottom.
yeah,
So that top layer, like it can dry out. That was my only real gripe with it. But when I was doing Synganic, right, so I'd start off with an organic mix, have that in the pot. Then when needed, just in the reservoir, just be plain water. And then when needed, I would add in synthetic nutrients into the reservoir towards probably like the middle of flower, early to mid flower. then add in the organics into the reservoir, and then it's just solid for the rest of the way through flower.
Yeah. Yeah, that week 3, 4 is kind of where, like you said, we did discuss this before, was when I started to see a little bit of a nitrogen deficiency. Plants started to yellow a little bit. They weren't getting proper nutrients. And yeah, that whole top layer kind of drying out. It's kind of a healthy balance between using the reservoir and adding teas, you know, top watering teas in. And I'd like to add some product called microbial mass as well. So every once in a while, I'll add in a little bit of like a cup or two um, to the top layer. But I also have a pretty thick layer of rice hulls for a mulch layer, so it keeps things pretty moist, like moist enough where it's not gonna have any sort of negative effects. But I've kind of found my sweet spot with it now, where I'm not using the 4-gallon pots anymore. That's where I was getting the deficiencies, that that battery in the soil was too low. So went to the 6.6-gallon setup and way better results with it. But yeah, they rock. I love them. I can't go back to anything else.
It makes it so much easier, right?
Yeah,
So much easier. I mean, you're not hand watering at all anymore,
yeah,
right? You're completely hands off when it comes to that.
yeah,
That's one thing I
exactly.
loved about it. And all auto watering systems, I've been rocking the blue mats
Mm,
for many years now as well, and that's very hands off. And I can kind of still have the similar issue to where the top layer dries out, and there are several ways to go about it. But one of the ways when I went to try to alleviate that issue was to do the nutrient well technique. Have you heard about that or done that at all?
I
Or
think I remember hearing about it from your podcast. Describe it. Yeah.
yeah, so basically just kind of digging down a little bit and then putting the nutrients into this little hole, and then I was having the blue mat dripper drip right onto the nutrients.
Oh, okay.
So
Just
instead of
dry
top
amendments.
dressing the entire surface of the top,
Yeah.
kind of just digging down a little well, right, a little hole, and
Yeah.
then putting the nutrients in there, and then basically still watering in, but also having the blue mat just drip directly down onto that well,
Okay.
and that has been that helped. That definitely helped.
Yeah.
So I've been just doing that the past couple grows now. It's been great.
Hmm. Yeah. There's a new technique that I'm sure lots of people don't know yet. So
Mm, yeah, I mean, there's some controversy, right? Because you're like, oh, you're digging down, disturbing the root zone, and sure,
yeah. Yeah. And
there's
you're
that argument. But after me doing it, with that disturbance has been very minor for me, if
mm,
any. I mean, I haven't really noticed anything. So,
yeah.
and it's been able to keep those amendments moist for proper breakdown, which is most important.
Awesome. Yeah. Uh, Maybe another reason why there's a little bit of pushback is you're containing the nutrients in just kind of one spot instead of spreading them out across the entire feeder roots that come up. Maybe that might have some sort of effect, but maybe they'll just kind of all gather up into that one spot. Who knows?
Yeah, some people might say that as well, but yeah, like I said, my plants have been great off of it, so I'm going to continue doing that.
Yeah, perfect. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Sometimes you got to block out the noise. Being a content creator, I mean, you hear it in the comment section where, oh,
Yeah,
you're doing this wrong. You got to do it this way instead of that. You got those backseat growers. They're similar
yeah,
to the backseat drivers where they're in the backseat telling you how to drive or telling you how to grow
yeah,
your plants, and they're not there at the steering wheel.
yeah,
Driving. They're not doing it. Um, there's a lot of people that will judge you off of your techniques or just looking at your plants and stuff like that, but not really understand the whole picture, right?
yeah. Yeah, I've got one video on my YouTube where I set up autopots, and it's got over 10,000 views. And I've got so many different comments in there. Oh, you're doing that wrong. You're doing this wrong. It's like I've been using autopots for well over 2 years now, and it's worked for me the whole time. So I'm okay. Thanks.
It's gonna block out the noise.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right. Well, with all the garden talk, I guess, do you ever take a break from gardening? Just find time to relax?
All the time, yeah. I mean, I'm a big person on efficiency, and just being efficient when it comes to gardening.
Hmm.
I have my alarm set for 6 p.m. when my lights turn on. I have a time blocked off my calendar to deal with my plants. That one time, and that's pretty much it. Now, and I just started a new run, so I'm a little bit more hands on, checking on them. I got my life cycle on longer and stuff like that. But for the most part, I try to keep it down to about an hour a day. Now,
Yeah,
sometimes I'm going to have trainings that need to be done, or transplanting that needs to be done, pruning. So it's going to take longer. But for the most part, I try to narrow it down to like 30 minutes or an hour a day.
yeah,
And there are plenty of days now especially when growing organic, where I'm just opening up the tent, making sure everything's good, zipping it back up, and I'm good to go. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Everything's pretty much hands off in a lot of the case. But yeah, I definitely my life's definitely not all gardening.
yeah,
And, it is my full time job to be a content creator. So researching, filming, editing, all that stuff. But yeah, when I'm not working, I have a girlfriend. I've got two cats. Had three cats. Rest in peace to Stella. She passed away a couple weeks ago,
sorry to
unfortunately.
hear that.
Thanks, man. That's a family member.
Yeah,
It
yeah, I
sucks.
just recently lost one of our other dogs too. There, had to
Sorry to
put
hear
it
that,
up.
dude.
Yeah, it's
Ugh.
part of life, right?
Yeah, yep. But yeah, no, I'm hanging with the family, on off days. I like to hike, ride my bike sometimes.
Yeah,
I don't know. Pretty
find
chill person, watch TV, movies, all that
yeah,
stuff. So
find time to relax.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You said you were just starting a new run. Would that happen to be some of your crosses?
Yeah, well, yeah. So I only have one cross.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
Brisker OG crossed with Pakistan Valley. Brisker OG is by Square One Genetics. It's a hybrid. Pakistan Valley is a land race from World of Seeds.
yeah.
And
That's chill
yeah,
out,
years
OG.
Chill out OG.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've been working on this for a little while now, several
Yeah.
years now. And, again, it goes back to me having like a limited plant count. I
Hmm.
mean, needing to grow flower for myself as well. So I haven't been consistently doing breeding runs for several years. You know what I mean? I'll do a breeding run, then I'll do a flower run, then I'll do a breeding run. I've got to rotate around. So I'm down to the F3 generation. I'm doing inbreeding. So I went to F1,
Nice.
F2, F3, and the F3s are looking fantastic. What I'm looking for in this, I love all the different generations for their own different purposes, right? I mean, you can do F1s. We've got several different phenotypes. You've got smaller, squattier ones that are more towards the Pakistan Valley side of things.
Hmm.
And then you've got longer, like stretchier ones, like your typical OG from the Brisker OG side. So the F1s are awesome because you just have that variety. F2, it opens up the gene pool even more. F3, I've narrowed it down to try to get more shorter cultivars. I'm sorry, shorter phenos, which
Okay.
is one cultivar we're talking about here, but shorter phenos, and it's been pretty successful. Some people have complained about it being too small, you know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
it's for small spaces,
Yeah.
you know. I think a lot of people have gotten away from that over the years. You don't hear about many breeders breeding for small,
Hmm.
spaces, small plants. So that's one benefit of going down to the F3 level, is being able to have more of the phenos turn out to be that smaller structure, real tight internodes. I like to top the plant once or twice as it's growing along to kind of get it to bush out a little bit. But if you don't top it at all, it'll just be straight up Christmas tree style, typical.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And it's great, but great smoke, very chill effect,
Hence
when
the
you're
name.
standing up. Yeah, I mean when you're sitting down, you're just chilling and you have that couch lock kind of borderline vibe. But if you're getting
Nice.
up and you're moving around, you're good. You're able to move around, you're able to function, you're able to chill, kind of be loose with things. So
Nice.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like my kind of strained couch lock. I love just, sit down on the couch, click on a show and just fall asleep.
Those are great for at night.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what uh what are you growing those in pots or I think I remember you saying that you had a bed, a fabric bed.
I have a fabric bed outdoors
Oh,
in
okay.
my
Yeah.
vegetable
Yeah.
garden. Yeah. As far as the chill OTG, this run, well, fingers crossed that it's a female. I only have one,
Oh,
right
what?
now that I've germinated.
Oh,
Fingers
okay.
crossed that it's a female, and we'll see. I think it might go into a 10-gallon
Hmm.
container, um, or it might go into a 5 and do organic.
Nice.
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who like I'll start to plan my grow, but things change as it goes on, right?
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I kind of have some plants right now in 10-gallon containers that are going as seedlings, but I have other ones in just those plugs, organic plugs, kind of like the root riots.
Hmm.
I don't know if you heard about those.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have some going in those right now. I sent them off for DNA sex testing with Farmer Freeman,
Nice.
and now I'm just gonna cull off the males and then
Yeah.
be able to transplant the females into the container that they're going to be in. So I'm trying to save on some space, save on the time. Some people are like, "Oh, why don't you just plant it directly into the medium?" Well, it takes time to
Yeah.
get the soil prepared, get them into containers. It's easier to use those plugs. It's one of the reasons why a lot of people like to start on those plugs. So,
Yeah. Yeah. With limited plant count too, it's gets a little tough for sure.
hmm.
Um. So I guess you're going into F3 now. Where would you like to take this to be able to get it released to the public?
That's the
And
golden question, right?
are you releasing it to the public?
It's gonna happen this year. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Sweet.
It's gonna happen pretty soon here. And yeah, once it does, I'll definitely be making announcements and stuff like that, just kind of
Yeah.
prepping for it. And I think I'm gonna go from F3 to probably Fem.
Yeah. Do some
So
selfing on it. Yeah.
yeah,
Gonna use
so
like
I'll Fem
colloidal
it out.
silver or silver thiosulfate. Or,
Yeah, probably the colloidal silver.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I think so. So I'm still learning that whole process and stuff, So I'm definitely no expert when it comes to. I haven't even done it yet myself, but
Yeah. I've
shout
heard
out
so
to
much about it, but when when it's time to implement it, it's just like, oh, like when do I spray it? Like for the first week, I spray it 7 times, and then I don't know. Don't take the words out of my mouth there. I don't know.
Yeah, I had shout out to Grow More Stress Less. He's
Mm,
a breeder. He's been on my podcast before,
yeah,
and he makes fems. And no, he broke down the process on my podcast. So I'm just
nice.
going to refer back to that
Yep.
episode and probably do what he does because the way he does it seems to be pretty easy. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I love having that dictionary, that vault there to go back to, and just do a quick search on whatever platform you listen to it on, and have that reference there. It's a blessing for sure.
yeah, it really is.
Yeah. So are you just gonna take it to F3 and then see what they're like right now, and then after that you're gonna self it?
I've already grown out the F3s and they've already been tested. Testers have grown them out.
Yeah.
They look good. They look really good. So I think now it's a matter of me femming it.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the F3. I don't have any plans to go down to F4 right now. So
Yeah,
I
I
think I'm
think
just gonna fem it at F3 and then go from there.
yeah. Yeah, F3's a pretty typical um stage to start releasing things. There are a lot of strains out there that are an F3, so yeah, good choice, I think. It's
Yeah, I don't have anything against any previous generations. Like I know some people, a lot of controversy, like, oh yeah, you do the cross and you're sending out F1s. F1s are just sending out F1s. That's bad, right? You want to stabilize it, stuff like that. I could see that. I also feel like, come on, my cat's bothering me again. Trying to get up here. Come on, man. He likes to tap on me and then like run away, and then come back and tap on me and run away. Anyways, I mean, I get people's perspective on that avenue. I personally, in my journey, I wanted to go down and find what I'm looking for in the genetics
Mhm.
before releasing. You know, so I'm not saying that I'm never going to release an F1 or an F2, and I'm only going to release F3s. Um, I'm just my personal journey, I wanted to stabilize it, find out what I'm, well, no, not fully stabilizing, right? F3s, go down F3s, find what I'm looking for, and then be able to release to the public. And, going back to what I said before, F1s can be a good thing because it could tap back into some of the other uh, characteristics that I wasn't really looking for as a breeder, but maybe somebody else is looking for, maybe somebody else likes,
Yeah. Yeah, it gives those
like for
growers the
example,
choice of what they want to grow.
yeah, because some of those longer internode ones on the F1s that I found, just fire, man, straight fire. Um, and yeah, if going down to the F3s, you probably have a much less chance of getting those longer internodes one that are bigger plant, So um, it's one of those slower growers, I guess. You know what I mean? Like real short internodes, just it takes a while. Other plants around it will just grow much quicker of it, but that's the way it was bred. So
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I know there's a lot of people wanting this. It's gonna be a huge success for you. I don't want to say hyped up, but it's out there and people are interested, so you're gonna have some good success for sure.
I know High Again, shout out to them. They
Yeah.
are growing it right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
they did
did
that
sneak
poll
it
there.
out to a few people. Rob from CLTV grew it.
Yeah.
He made some content on it. Had some people on my forum. They grew it out. Um, yeah, High Again. I'm eager to see what they get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting.
Cool. Well, put me on the list of potential buyers. So.
All right.
All right. Well, I guess just kind of one last question before we do our kind of an outro. But I know it's kind of a shorter episode today. You've kind of got a little bit of a hard out here in 10, 15 minutes. So, I'll get to this last question. Now more than ever, there's a huge industry in the world of medicinal plants. What kind of advice do you have for those looking to get into the industry, whether it be a head grower, a trimmer, uh, cleaner, sales rep? What kind of advice do you got for them?
Man, there are so many different avenues that you can get into, right? I mean, I'm on the content creation side of things. Rob from CLTV, he's over on the commercial side of things now. He's been working for a commercial facility. I think he's more on the marketing side of
Yeah,
things, right? But there are so many different roles that you can do within the industry. It's not just grower, for example, right? You don't have to be a master grower. You don't have to be a trimmer. You could start out as a trimmer. You could work your way into like packaging and work your way into other parts of the facility. Some people might say just get into the ground floor and work your way up. That might be the way in. Every state's different when it comes to how their industry is shaped. Maybe like a newer state, it might be a little bit easier. Oh, excuse me, a little bit easier to get into versus more established states. I don't know. I might be talking out of my ass there, but I know in my state when it was new, it was kind of difficult to get in as like a grower at the facility. Back in 2016, when they first legalized in my state, I was looking for a job where I was working, as a master grower, or not really as a master grower, but just as a grower in the facility. Very, very tough. I got shot down left and right. Um, I thought about going in as like the ground floor and then working my way up. That what maybe was a potential option for me. But I just kind of kept at it, kept my nose in the industry, and figured out that hey, content creation is something I want to do. I want to learn as a home grower, continue to grow at home. This is what I like to do,
hmm
home gardening. I'm not just growing that plant that we all know and love, but I'm on to vegetables now.
yeah,
So yeah, the knowledge is endless right there. But just keep hacking at it. Think about ways you can get into the industry, and then go for it. That's really the only advice I have for people.
yeah.
Pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a little bit of a believer that if you start mixing your hobby in with your job, it doesn't become or is no longer a hobby anymore. It's a I don't maybe some people have that passion to be able to turn their job into a hobby as well, but I've loved working on vehicles. Volkswagens have been specialty for 15 plus years now, and everyone was always like, "Oh, why don't you get into mechanics and this and that?" And it's like, no, I like working on my own engines. I don't want to work on anybody else's, you know. So, but yeah,
That's a really good point. Yeah, because I mean, if you were like forced to work for somebody, you'd be working on cars that you maybe don't want to work on, and
yeah,
it's not fun for you, and that goes exactly like you said, it goes from a hobby to a job, something that you might
yeah,
not enjoy as much.
yeah. Then you lose the passion and the drive behind it, and yeah. But to each their own, I guess. Drive for success all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you guys, you, Rob, Pigeons, you guys have been doing some massive things over at From the Stash. You guys recently started to do live interviews. You guys all met up in Las Vegas there and had an amazing time. Filmed a crazy amount of content. I've heard it all from Rob. It's awesome to hear you guys are having such massive success with it, and building that whole platform. Uh, so yeah, congrats to you guys. I guess just last question here is what's what's upcoming for you in the future?
Well, I'm going to get my second book out this year. Something I've
Nice.
been working on. I had some family health issues. I lost my father in January. Before that, it was like I was flying back home every single month, every month and a half, in order to see him.
Yeah,
And so like so much of my work was just got pushed to the side, and the book was one of the things.
yeah,
And my first book is 7 Steps to Zero Cannabis. That has been great. I released that in 2016 and revised it a few times, and the newest edition is 2020. That's a beginner book, focused on growing in soil and in cocoa, and that has been great. But there have been people who want more. There
yeah.
are people who want organics, and now they've been doing organics for 3+ years now, 3 or 4, 3 or 4. I'm trying to think. About 4 years now, 3.5, 4 years. Um, I feel like I can at least create a book that talks about my experience.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of people want to get into the organic side of things. So trying to create kind of a beginner user friendly, how to get started type organic book. So that's what I'm working on right now. I am going to have to push around some of the things that I'm doing right now. Maybe stop doing some of the things that I'm doing right now in order to make time to write the book. So yeah, expect a big announcement coming out here next month. Actually, I
Cool.
don't know when you're going to release this episode here, but yeah, I'm gonna have to put some things on pause in order to write that second book and get that out this year, and then yeah, I've got a product coming out. Can't talk about that right now. We'll talk about that soon enough. That we'll probably talk about that next month as well.
Yeah. You and
And
Pigeons, you guys are both tight-lipped. Rob, not so much.
yeah, so it's coming. It's coming soon, and
Cool.
we're excited about it. So yeah, appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah. Um, plug all your socials and podcasts and everything.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You can find me most known on YouTube. Search Mr. Growit. You can find my main channel, which shows all my plants and gardening. If you search Garden Talk with Mr. Growit on YouTube, you'll find the Garden Talk podcast. I also do Q&As on that channel. Might do some product reviews. I have some product reviews. And if you dig way back, you'll find part test videos on some older lights from back in the day. I'm also on all podcast platforms. Just search Garden Talk with Mr. Growit. Also on Twitter at Mr. Growit, Instagram at Mr. Growit. That's the only account I have. There are so many scammers, so many fake accounts
Yeah.
on Instagram in particular. The only account I have is at Mr. Growit. All the other ones are fake. So it sucks it sucks I have to say that. MrGrowit.com and FromTheStash.com, and then From the Stash podcast as well. So that's a podcast with me Rob from CLTV, and then Pigeons 420. So I think
Awesome.
that's it.
Awesome. And every single one of those is a wealth of knowledge. You know, I guess I could speak for everyone and just say thank you for what you do, bringing, you know, knowledge and awesome guests out to everyone. We appreciate it, man. Yeah. Thank you for coming on the podcast. It's a huge honor for me. Like I said at the beginning, you know, I don't really think anyone is a celebrity or anything. I don't want to make you seem like a celebrity, but you know, you're one of those guys that are up there on the bucket list to have on, and I'm glad you came on.
I appreciate your kind words, man. Thanks for having me
Yeah,
on. This was really cool. Chill, super chill. And maybe we can get you on my podcast again in the future for a
yeah,
part 2.
awesome. Yeah, I'm totally down.
Nice. Cool.
Cool. All right, man. Thank you very much. And for everyone who's listening on Apple and Spotify, don't forget to leave a review. It helps the algorithm, helps Mr. Growit, helps me. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to smash the like button, share, comment, do all that good stuff. And appreciate every one of you guys for listening and viewing. So until next episode, guys.
Peace.